These are the simple steps you need to take on your journey to self-publishing. Hi, my name is Mary and this is Telios, where we give you tips, training and services to help you get publishing ready. Now, when it comes to self-publishing, there are a couple of things that you need to do, not just as an author, but also as a publisher. First things first, write the book. It sounds simple and it sounds like it should be obvious, but you do need to get the book written, otherwise you won't have anything to publish. Step number 2, editing. Once your draft is complete, and I use the word complete very loosely here, you need to start your editing process. Now, editing doesn't begin with a third party as an author, it begins with you. The first draft of your book should not be what your editor sees. You should at least go through your manuscript 3-4 times before you even give it to your editor to look at. This helps you fix any flaws that you could have missed during the first time when you were just trying to get everything down. Once you're done and somewhat satisfied with your draft, then you need to look for an editor. It's really important to get someone who has an outside perspective, who's objective, who can see things that you probably missed because you were too close to your story or too close to the content that you're writing about. Once your editing is done, and I do mean done, you need to be sure that you are as close to finished as possible with your editing. Next comes formatting. This is a process that turns your Word document or your book document into something that actually looks like a book, where you have the chapters and the page numbers and everything is laid out in the order it's supposed to appear in your book. This process also involves including things like your copyright page, your author bio, your table of contents if you're writing a non-fiction book. So as you're writing and as you're figuring out your manuscript, you need to have these things at the back of your mind, because there will come a time when they will be needed. As your book formatting is in progress, the other thing that you also need to consider is your book design. What is your book going to look like on the cover, front and back? Now, once you have your cover and your formatting done, you now need to also think about what your printing and your publishing is going to look like. And why I mention printing and publishing separately is you may not necessarily want to physically publish your book. Perhaps you want to do an ebook, and that is normally referred to as digital publishing or e-publishing. So depending on what kind of format you want to have for your final book, these are some of the considerations that you will need to make even as your book is being formatted, because whatever you get at the end of your formatting process is what you will use in your printing or publishing process. So you need to figure out how many copies do you want to print. Can you afford to print as well? If it's for an ebook, which sites do you want to sell your book on? There are quite a number of stores available these days where you can sell your ebooks. So you need to figure out where exactly do you want to stock your book. If it's for physical books, which bookstores are you looking to get into? Can you start those conversations with a bookstore once you have at least 1 or 2 copies in hand that you can show them? These are some of the things that you start to think about when it comes to the printing and the publishing process. Now, once that is done and you have your book in hand, the next step is launching your book. So you need to think about what kind of promotion do you want to have in and around your book launch? With the way things are these days, having a physical book launch isn't always feasible. But there's some fun things that you can do online. There are quite a number of people who are doing virtual events these days, so if you look it up, you can probably come across 1 or 2 that can give you ideas of what you can do for your own book. That way, you don't just quietly put out your book. You want people to know the book is out so that they can buy the book. So the launch is really important. Now, your self-publishing process does not stop at the launch. The books are in your hands and they need to get into the hands of your readers. And that's why we have the next step, which is the sales and the distribution. And this is a process that goes on for quite some time. Because even after you're done selling whatever copies you may have, you may find that there's still demand for your book and you want to do another print run so that you can sell even more copies. Where are the books going to be stocked? How do you keep track of the stock? How do you make sure that your book isn't out of stock and yet there is demand? There are people who are coming and asking for your book and not finding it, and you don't have a clue. So these are some of the things that you need to think about as you're looking at your sales and distribution process. Finally, we have a step that, again, a lot of authors do tend to forget about, and that's after sales or customer care, if you will. It's really important to get feedback from your readers, and normally when it comes to books, this feedback comes in the form of reviews. And why these reviews matter is, one, you can use them to better your writing, better your craft. Two, you can also use them as a way of marketing your book to other people. The best form of marketing any book or any author can get is word of mouth. So if you have some tangible reviews that you can put out there just to show, hey, the people who are reading my book and loving it, enjoying it, these are the parts they're finding interesting, these are the parts that they are really getting into, it goes a long way into ensuring that you keep the book sales going. Whew. Does that sound like a lot? I know. I am a self-published author and I've been through the process, and I know it can get pretty hectic. That's why at Telios Press we do have quite a number of training courses and services that help you take each and every single step in this publishing process with the confidence that you need. Where does this confidence come from? From knowing what you're doing. One of the biggest struggles that a self-published author can face is doubt. And the best way to kill that doubt is to get the knowledge and the information you need, so that when you're making decisions in each and every single step of this process, you know what you're doing. You have that confidence that you're not just walking into situations blind. You're not just hiring people to help you blindly. You actually do have a good idea of what you need. So if you're looking for someone to hold your hand as you go through your self-publishing journey, definitely go to our website teliospress.com, and you can see our full list of training and services that we have available for you. You can also subscribe to this channel, as we'll be putting out a lot more content on all things self-publishing. And finally, do look us up on Instagram at Telios Press, where we give you daily tidbits on life as a self-published author.